Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Midnight with Midnight Madness here. Wanted to go over a little something that was brought up yesterday by Prof Hoff, which I'm not really in a 100% agreement with Prof Hoff on this. I think we're jumping to conclusions and we're really jumping to something without really looking at all the factors. In fact, Prof Hoff posted this video about the most lopsided Alliance War matchup yet, where he pointed towards one alliance that had a war rating facing off another alliance with a similar war rating, but their alliance rating was completely off, where one had a 17 million advantage in war rating, and saying, oh, well, this should never happen. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, war rating is an indication of skill, or at least it should be an indication of skill. The problem is, we've had too many people manipulate it. You have people who will run 1 or 2 BG for Alliance Wars. They will get wins a lot more because they don't have enough team members, let's say, or maybe not everyone's keen about doing Alliance Wars. So they'll run 1 or 2 because they can win those. And they'll raise up, every win will raise up that war rating. And then all of a sudden, if they go into 3, they can find themselves like outrageously outmatched. Especially at the lower end, ladies and gentlemen, it can happen very easily. So, I really don't agree with the premise that the Alliance rating is a true indication of skill set, and that we can only match up a 17 million to a 17 million. We need to take that line of thinking, and unfortunately, we need to throw it in the box, and I'm going to show you why in a little bit. But you can see here that Keen Monkey sent a screenshot where he's got a 1216 war rating team. Like his whole alliance is 1216 war rating. 17 million is their actual alliance rating. They went up against a 260,000 alliance rating that was a 1216 war rating. Now, Prof Hoff did point bronze versus stone, but the problem with that is this stone was from season 14 and that actual bronze was from season 15. That is not an adequate reflection of this current, the Hunter's current season's actual standing. The only thing that is a current standing would have been their war rating, which is on par, which means this year they had this season, they had enough wins to get into 1216. But when they go up against another 1216 war rating team, their skill set may not be enough to overcome the kind of alliance prestige and alliance rating at that point, ladies and gentlemen. Now, at the lower ends, this is going to be a wide swings because you have so many thousand members within, say, bronze. I don't know the full pool, but there's probably a couple thousand within that bronze, maybe even several thousand. So, quite honestly, those amount of alliances, you're going to have this dramatic. The only thing to adequately reflect their war rating is they need to occasionally fight people within their bracket. If they're 1216 and they're in a particular tier for map, say if it's, tier 12 or tier 15, they need to face other people who are on that same map and that same tier when it comes to rating. Again, the season 14 Stone 1, that's not a reflection of their current 15. They might have been in bronze. They may have been facing right on the edge of stone and went into bronze, and in bronze may even got up. But there was another post that Prof Hoff pointed at and said, oh, the flawed matchmaking, yeah, there's something wrong, and we have teams at the upper end that have very low prestige and very low alliance rating that are actually in there and that are actually within this, and that's not fair. But the problem is that post, Prof, was about the opposite of what you're saying. It's about how these teams are not facing against their true competitors of these higher alliance ranking, this alliance rating and prestige rating teams. The problem is we got away from war rating matchups, and we need to get back to it, quite honestly. There's reasons why we got away from war rating as a means, but it seems like Kabam is trying to adjust it back after this particular post from QuikPik. QuikPik is my alliance leader, and he kind of went through and did all this work. And Prof Hoff said, oh my gosh, thank you for so much of this work. This is the thing, about 6 seasons ago, and this was January 26th, and like I said, Prof Hoff praised this post back then. Now he's saying there, oh, no, you can't have alliance ratings that are that mismatched fight each other. Yes, you can, ladies and gentlemen, especially if their war rating indicates it. The problem is, you know, about 6 seasons ago, we got away from the algorithm strictly using war rating based on, you know, to something else. And as you can see, QuikPik posted that you got 17 million. You got people who were in the bronze 1 level, alliance rating that are sitting here in gold 2 and gold 1. You know, you got them in platinum 4. And you look at it, and their prestige can't be more than like 7,000, 6,000. You know, you got a 12 million sitting here in gold 2, and they're competing against like teams that are in the 30s, ladies and gentlemen. Teams in the 27 million alliance rating. But the problem is that wasn't happening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to show you a little bit more on why that wasn't happening. Prof Hoff was praising this about how, oh yeah, this is all messed up. But QuikPik's point, Prof, was that these 12 millions are facing other 12 millions. These 19 millions are facing like other 19 millions. In fact, when I looked at like what my alliance went through this past season, we can see this. Now that we can see prestige, I can add prestige here, but our alliance rating was 32 million. Every single alliance we faced was within about a given 7 million down or up. Most of it was down because it's really hard. You know, we only had like really one that we faced that was above us, but most of them were within about a 7 million. Now, you can sit there and say, oh, well, a 25 million shouldn't go against 32 million. The problem is that's not an indication of your true ability, Prof. The alliance rating is not an indication of your abilities. It's only an indication of how many champs you have. And if you do not have the champ, if you do not have the roster to keep a 1200, a 1216 war rating, you do not deserve that war rating. You need to lose occasionally. That may mean that you actually have to face other people with that war rating that have a much higher alliance rating. You're going to lose. We got to get off this whole thing about how everything needs to be fair, everything needs to be handicapped, because that's what QuikPik was pointing out here, Prof. He was pointing out the fact that there needs to be there needs to be cross-pollination of these teams. A 32 million can't just constantly be facing a 28, a 30 million. All you're promoting at that point, Prof, is wallet wars, because they're going to be tough matches. We're talking every single one of these matches was so close that it came down to who spent the most potions and who spent the most in boosts and revives. Because literally, we're talking 1 to 2 difference in deaths. Now, when you look at the prestige, ladies and gentlemen, look at this prestige rating. Everything is like pretty much, we are at a 96. Everything was within from about as much as 300 more than us to as low as 500 below us. And it really didn't start going below us until the last few weeks, which makes me wonder if the beginning part it was mainly doing prestige for most of this past season, because we noticed there has been no real difference. We've always had these really, really close matches, which people may say is fair, and that's the way it should be. But the problem is if you got 15 millions and 12 millions only facing 15 and 12 millions in gold 2, you're going to always have these 15 and 12 millions that may not deserve to be there with a 32 million, Prof. Because if they face that 32 million, they're not going to be able to compete. The problem is some of these teams will end up getting here into the mastery, which don't belong, because these two teams can fight against each other. They can fight against the Platinum 1 or Platinum 2. They may be going down to Platinum 3 to fight, Prof. Because they do not qualify to ever compete against their competition according to their war rating of what tier they're in. So the only way to really fix this is by going back to a war rating based system. The problem with the war rating based system is that it really favored those who manipulated it by tanking or now shell accounts. If we actually look also, we're going to see that once Alliance Prestige became aware, Prof, you're going to see where there's 8,000, 6,000, 7,000, you know, all throughout Platinum 1 and Gold 2. You can't tell me, Prof, by the same argument that you said right here, where this is so much off, how good would a team need to be to have a 6,000 and be in Platinum 3 to defeat teams if they were honestly facing their competition of 10,000 prestige, Prof? Let's be honest here. They would have to fight flawlessly against our 5 champs. Now, they might be able to do it. Don't get me wrong. There are offshots that this team may be that skilled that they can, but quite honestly, I doubt that. I definitely think they would have enough deaths, because we're talking at some of these, we're talking like where teams only have like maybe 13 deaths amongst themselves, okay? And they're facing defenses that are on par with them, because like I said, facing equal prestige, you know, you might get like 13, 14 deaths, Prof. You're telling me that if this 10 face this 6,200, they're going to steamroll. They're going to have almost no deaths, Prof. They're really going to have almost no deaths. They would clear the floor. This team would have to play perfectly to beat them. But you're telling me that they deserve to be there? That they deserve that because what's going to happen is if we go by sheer prestige or alliance rating, they'll end up being in Platinum 3. They'll be in Platinum 1 because they're always going to face even matches. But if their skill set is so great to always get those wins, they should have no problem going against about a 9,500 prestige. They should have no problem going against an 8,800 prestige. We need to go back to the Alliance War rating standard. The problem is we got away from that. We got away from that because what was happening is in the off season, when Kabam allowed off season war rating to be adjusted, the top teams were coming in Platinum 1. They would end the season in Platinum 1, and in the off season they would lose all their matches, and they would try to end up around Gold 2. They just wanted to enter right where the war rating was enough that they would pretty much be going against other like Gold 2 members, like right at the edge of Gold 1, because you can get those points and go right into Gold 1 and then go into, maybe if you could get 3, you might be in Platinum 4, Platinum 3 at that point. If you can get 3 wins right off the bat, you might be able to get into Platinum 3. They might even do low-end Gold 1. But the idea was to get a war rating just at the cusp to shoot up and get 4 wins right off the bat, because their skill set is up there with Platinum 1. When people were playing legit and weren't tanking in the off-season, Plat 1s were facing Plat 1s every single season, ladies and gentlemen. They were having to fight each other over and over and over again. It's what everyone said was wallet wars, because they were so close, and matches should be close. Yes, they should be close, but you need to be able to use war rating in order to establish that. And if people are going to manipulate that, Kabam had to do something. So Kabam did that whole off-season off. They shut off war rating in season. They locked them for tiers 5 and above. But then what you had the Platinum 1s, Platinum 2s, and some of the Platinum 3s do was they started doing shell alliances, where they would have a secondary alliance that they would start bringing up to the ranks, and it would get up to the point where they would want it to be, say, high Gold 2, low Gold 1. They would jump right at the tail end of off season. They would jump into that new alliance, and then when the season came on, they would start winning again. So all they did was, instead of being in the same alliance, they would just swap to a new alliance. Now, one thing that Kabam could do, okay, to stop this 100%, is if you're new to an alliance, you could do it at the person level. If you're new to an alliance, if you switch to a new alliance, you cannot qualify for awards on the first season. You have to wait 1 season. That would stop it overnight, ladies and gentlemen. I know some people say, but that's unfair to people who legitimately just move, because you could either do that or you can do it for the whole alliance by saying if 60% of the roster changes or 70, you know, Kabam shouldn't tell us. They could just say if if a large number, in quotes, because they don't have to give us information, because if you give the specifics, Kabam, these teams are going to use it to manipulate it to do the shell game. So you could just say if a significant number of members change and prestige raises along with alliance rate raises, that alliance will be barred from competing for or ranking for rewards in a season gameplay for one season. That would stop it in a heartbeat, because the reason why they're doing this is to season after season after season rank in the high Plat 1, Plat 2 is what they're trying to go for. They don't want to lose in the first few and then have a harder time trying to scratch their way up and then really be struggling near the tail end. They want to set a good buffer within the first 4 to 5 to 6 wars to really get a bunch of wins so that they can have a loss here or there and not have to be so aggressively spending to end up in Platinum 1 and Platinum 2. The whole thing is I know why they're doing it. I feel sorry a little bit for them, but I don't feel sorry for how they're manipulating the system, because Kabam is trying to adjust for it and it's screwing up Alliance Wars even more than it needs to be. We need to go back to where Alliance, the war rating was the standard for the strength, but we need to stop with the tanking and we need to stop the shell. We did stop the tanking in off season because, again, Kabam has solidified that. I think they changed the algorithm recently to go off of alliance rating and off of prestige, based off of the fact that war rating wasn't always a clear indication because of the shell game, Prof. And what we're seeing is Kabam tried to adjust the system, but now we have a bunch of lower end teams who are only facing lower end teams, and they're getting enough wins that they're ending up in Platinum 1, Platinum 3, Platinum 4, in Gold 1, in Gold 2. But if they actually had to face the people that are in Gold 1, that normally are in Gold 1, they would get decimated because they don't belong there. Their skill set isn't there, Prof. So we need to scratch this. This needs to be no. You do not need this. Their war rating is 1216, war rating 1216. That's their skill set. That's the matchup. What we need to do is have a discussion of what Kabam needs to do to fix the matchmaking so that it can run off a war rating by stopping shell accounts and stopping alliance tanking, the tanking of the war rating. We've solved the tanking. We need to now solve for the alliance shell game. And it's not that it's illegal, it's just very unsportsmanlike to just do that because you just want to get one up, because you want to consistently come up in Plat 1 as cheap as possible. But yet, teams that sit there and battle it out and don't play these games, they're in Gold 1, and you know, they relatively always come up in Gold 1, and now they can't because they're always having to get tough matches because Kabam's fooling around with the system trying to compensate for your lack of ethics in a game because you want to one up because you think Kabam is evil. No, Kabam's not evil. They're just trying to make a fun game for us to have fun with, man. We're trying to all play a game and have fun. I do want it to be challenging, but I do want it to be an adequate representation of people within my league of skill set. I don't think I deserve, like, you know, maybe my team might deserve to be in Platinum 4, but I think we're really more on the cusp of Gold 1 really and Platinum 4, and we're getting there. We're going to try to break into Platinum 4, you know, but it's going to be hard for us if we never get the cookies and face other teams of our caliber within that are in the same bracket of us, that are supposedly within our same skill set, but then they're getting these really easy matches for themselves if their skill set is so high. Because I'm not seeing it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, we were in Gold 2 for the latter half. Like, for most of these matches, we were in Gold 2. We never once faced anyone below 9100 for a 9600. Where are all these? Like, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Where are all the 7000s? We never faced one of them. How is that fair, Prof? If these 7000s can be ranked number, 1 through 50, they should have no problem going against the 9600 team, Prof. If they're that skilled, if they have that kind of roster, that they can hold us back, then by all means, it should be fair game in war. Because all is fair in love and war. And that needs to be that's where it's truly fair. is that if their alliance war rating says that they're at a certain level, they need to compete against other people, even if the odds are overwhelmingly against them, because their skill set, their war rating says that they can. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope I kind of made my points. I'm sorry that I took about 20 minutes to get through it, but hopefully you can now see where we're going with this, and how the matchmaking is flawed and what's going on. We're still waiting for Kabam to say something. I think they're really trying to adjust, and I'm not really being mean or mad. So Kabam, if you're out there listening, I know I'm a small channel. I only have 20 subs, so I'm not really on your radar. But if you actually listen to this, I hope you do. Keep working at it, keep doing it. I think we're getting closer to a right direction sooner or later. We just kind of, this past season was just kind of a little bit off. Whatever you did seems to be really messing up with things a little bit. We need to really stop with this whole trying to compensate for a lot of the sketchiness that goes on in the game, and stop tinkering with little things and actually make big, broad strokes and really crack the hammer down, Kabam. The only ones you're really going to really upset are the teams that actually do the shell game and do the tanking. You're not going to make all the rest of us upset. The ones who are legitimate players, you're not going to make us upset. And if you're worried, you know, people are like, oh, well, Kabam's just worried about money. I am a previous whale, ladies and gentlemen. You're saying that Kabam doesn't think my dollar is worth just as much as some of these other whales? Man, I put up a fair share of money, ladies and gentlemen. But the thing is if this stuff continues like this, where it's always going to be this tough, there's just going to be only so much I'm going to pay out for the game, because I don't want it to be where it's like a bill. I wanted to do it. I just want to spend here or there to possibly get a good champ, you know, maybe to you know, buy a few revives just because I wasn't able to farm enough to go take on like Abyss of Legends. But sitting there and just making it be this close, I mean, the only one who benefits from this, quite honestly, Prof Hoff, is Kabam, because if these matches are that close, because if these prestige are only going against other 7,000, that's only promoting it for spending. There is nothing wrong with a 7,000 saying, woo, dude, no, we got into gold 1, but we're up against the 9,600. We need to take a loss. Don't even try, guys. Don't waste the money. Don't waste anything, because maybe you don't need to be in gold 1 at that point. There are levels and there are levels. War rating should be an indication of overall skill. And if they're not, if these teams aren't facing against other people with similar war rating, regardless of the distance between their alliance rating, you're never going to get an adequate representation, Prof. You're false flagging. You're doing the whole, we need to make everyone a winner. We need to make everyone feel good about themselves, but you're not making an actual true competition or tournament at that point. Unfortunately, it just seems to be because we're trying to compensate for a lot of the schemers and scammers at the higher echelon of the game. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop a like, hit a subscribe if you want. Definitely comment below. I'll definitely feel free to comment back. I look forward to hearing from you guys. You have a good one, and this is Johnny Midnight saying, stay mad.